think meth has destroyed this community.
From just one puff off a pipe, you can stay high for a day.
It doesn't just take a little piece of you, it takes all of you and everything good in your life.
Methamphetamine, the most addictive illegal drug in America.
You see changes with certain people, especially if they're using methamphetamine, that has a distinct deteriorating effect on somebody's physical appearance. One of the faces that really stood out to me was Teresa Baxter. She came in and she was quite visibly intoxicated by methamphetamine. She looked horrible. She looked at least 20 years older than she was. Her teeth were missing, and I looked back in her history, and at one time, she was a fairly attractive young woman. Some people I have in here over 100 times, and I can look over a 10, 15, 20-year period and see how they've deteriorated, how they've changed. Some were quite attractive when they began to come to jail. Young people who were full of the health and had everything going for them. Intelligent, probably very skilled at what they did, or good students or good athletes. And now they're a shell of what they once were.
At the Portland newspaper, The Oregonian, reporters also began to focus on the impact of meth on the people of Oregon. In 2005, 50% of the children in foster care in Oregon were there because of meth. Many of them were sent to see pediatrician Carol Chervenek.
A 9-year-old girl was brought to see me because her parents had been arrested for manufacturing methamphetamines in her home, and she was sent to foster care. I asked her, "Tell me about drug use in your family." And she said, "Oh, well, my dad, he taught me how to cook it." And she described in absolute detail the cooking process of methamphetamine from the beginning to the end. She described how woozy she felt when the cooking was going on.
When the purity of the meth on the street falls, not only do fewer first-time users become addicted, but those who are addicted find it easier to get clean. And that gives places like On Track and its director, Rita Sullivan, a chance. In early 1996, meth purity was the lowest it had been in years. The Indian connection was broken, and Congress had finally given the DEA the power to regulate the ephedrine in cold medicine. For nearly 30 years, the United States has been caught in a cycle of new laws followed by new strategies by the cooks to get around them. But in Oregon, some of those who experienced the worst of the epidemic say they've finally found the cure: to make pseudoephedrine a prescription drug.
Essentially, we've been putting Band-Aids on this situation for 3 decades now. And we got tired of putting Band-Aids on the situation and watching the smurfers and the meth cooks get around it. So we just simply decided to return pseudoephedrine to a prescription drug, which is what it was before 1976, and we ended the problem.
In 2010, Linda Sudam, the president of a pharmaceutical industry trade group, testified to Congress.
Our goal is to stop illegal pseudoephedrine sales while maintaining the over-the-counter access for legitimate customers. Maintaining access to non-prescription pseudoephedrine is important because for many consumers it is the ingredient that works best for them. A prescription mandate would be more expensive for consumers. Sales limits would be...
The industry's fight against regulation emphasizes the cost to consumers. But for proponents of the Oregon model, the costs of inaction are greater.
The truth is, the Oregon solution works. And for states that are struggling with that issue, as many are, just to do the next Band-Aid is no solution at all. Real solutions are required because lives and families are at stake. The stakes couldn't be higher.
No one knows better what those stakes are than those who have been addicted to meth.
I can look back and see the total devastation of all that I created and the lives affected, the houses that I destroyed. There's no coming back from that kind of you can't fix that. And as long as you're caught up in it, it's like a whirlpool. Once you get caught in the current, you just go round and round and round, and pretty soon it just takes you under. And you got to come through the other side. But the insanity's got to stop somewhere in order for those things to take place.